Hey everyone, this is Jake Kern. Welcome back, Blind Faith. First and foremost, I've got a kind of funny story to tell you guys how I came up with this week's topic. So, it was about Thursday, Friday, Saturday of last week. I was sitting there and I was really thinking that I need to make a video focusing on politics a little bit more and kind of the issues and stuff. And I kept kind of talking myself out of it because I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna make a good video or not. And I kept kind of getting that push like I should do it. Because I kind of had planned out what I wanted to say and everything. Now I just wasn't quite sure I wanted to do it. And all of a sudden, I get to Sunday, go to church, and my priest at the church, it's a different church than we usually go to, and he was talking about politics. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, God's really pushing me to kind of bring up what I was thinking about. So I want to get into it a little bit. So in this country, I believe something politically. You believe something politically. Then my neighbor believes something politically. And all the way down the road. And I totally believe that differing opinions are great. I think that it's important to have different opinions because it adds interest to life. It kind of makes you think about your actions because if someone comes up to you and goes, wait a minute, why don't you do it this way instead? I've had Democrats and Republicans alike come up to me and kind of plant a seed in my mind thus, and I'll be sitting there and I'm like, that isn't a bad idea. Why didn't I think of that before? And I just really think it's important to realize that we are all just people. Especially nowadays, I look at presidential debates and stuff, and those become really brutal. It's not focusing on the people's view anymore. It's focusing on the person themselves. If you believe this, you're a bad person. If you believe that, you're a horrible person. And go back and forth, that they bash each other. And as Christians, I think we should be completely against this because bashing one another is not the right way to go. I think it's important to, if you disagree with someone, you can go, oh, I disagree with you, and then explain why you believe that. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that you were created by God, just the person across from you was created by God. I look at how much money we wasted, which money is not important to me as a Christian, but you'll see where I'm going in a minute. I look at how much money we've wasted and time we've wasted in politics. There's little tiny games that we play in politics, try hurting the other party quite often, and try bothering the other party. Sometimes we purposely try to push something through that we know won't pass, just to irritate the other party. And well, for one, I believe that compromise is very important. But for two, when I take all that money and I look at all that money we wasted, trying to both sides of the parties, trying to dig up dirt on the other politicians and stuff. Imagine if we'd actually take that money and do something productive with it. Imagine if we'd take that money and work on a cure for cancer. Imagine if we'd take that money and work on helping the poor. There's so many other things that money could go towards, and a lot of time we're sitting here and we're paying our politicians to argue and argue and argue and argue and bash one another, because it's not really like a friendly debate either. It's like most of the time in politics, people bash one another. Even when I was younger, I used to do political debates on Facebook, and I was not a big fan on bashing my opponent because it never felt right to me. It was kind of like an underhanded blow, I always felt like. but they had no qualms about bashing me, bashing my family even. And really, if you think about it, that person does not know me. That person does not know my family. And I look at in today's society how much we bash one another in disagreements. It's no longer about views. It's about the person themselves. You are bashing the person themselves. You're bashing things that they cannot help. As someone who's arguing politics, especially, sometimes it gets to the point that you're bashing things that God gave them, that you think God gave you something better. And as Christians, it's important to realize that God created us all slightly different for a reason. He wants us to kind of look around and connect with people on the other side. I got friends on the other side of the political spectrum from me, and I don't have any care in the world that they're not the same political side that I'm on. In fact, I enjoy it because it kind of gives me a look on life sometimes. And every once in a while, they'll come in and tell me something. I'm like, you're right. I 100% agree with you. And yeah. And I think it's important to realize that it's important to debate if you want to debate. It's important not to ever bash, because bashing is not a good Christian thing to do. And it's not that's not how God wants us to get disagreements resolved. So remember, the next time you are in a political debate, stay calm, explain why you believe what you believe. It's kind of like it's something that I learned in high school, in a health class even, about relationships. And I think it's important to use this all the time, not just in relationships. But in health class, they say, in a relationship, you should always go, oh, sorry, I did this. I thought that you meant this, but I was mistaken. You should always use the I statements, not, you did this. You screwed up. You should say, I screwed up. I think debating politics is kind of the same thing. You can go, I believe this, but you should never say your beliefs. You are, or anything to do with you, because most of those don't end good. Your beliefs are bad. You're an awful person. That's some of the things that I'll see on Facebook sometimes when you're debating politics, that people get all fired up and start bashing you. And as soon as they switch to you language instead of I believe this, and when they switch to you, it usually is not a good sign, because usually that means they're just bashing your character then. So always remember to kind of think about that, and realize that at the end of the day, we are all created by God. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all neighbors, and there is no reason to bash one another. Actually, I really like the quote from church today, and I'm going to kind of bring it up too. Our church this last Sunday. Sorry, not today. It's last Sunday. Not exactly a quote, kind of more of what Jesus said, but I'm going to summarize it so it's not fully a quote. But in the Bible, Jesus said that, I don't even remember what section it is, sorry, but Jesus brought up that if you think someone's doing wrong, confront them by yourself and talk it over with them. And then if they don't listen, bring a couple of witnesses and have them help you. If they're still not listening, bring them to church. And if they're still not listening, treat them like the Gentiles and tax collectors. What did Jesus do with the Gentiles and tax collectors? He sat down with them at the table and ate. So remember this with politics too, that even if they're completely on the other side of the spectrum, the best way to have an understanding between the two of you, not necessarily prove that you're right or that you're wrong, but just have an understanding between the two of you is to continue talking, to continue communicating, and continue being polite. You can literally share a meal, but even figuratively share a meal. You can just kind of sit down and talk it over and figure it out. And I mean, I've got friends on the other side of the political spectrum that I've been friends with for many years. I don't see that friendship ever changing because, quite honestly, we can debate politics, but at the end of the day, we can both sit down, laugh it off, and think that was a good day. This is Jake Crew, Blind Faith. Thanks for watching. Remember to always be polite when you're debating. See you all next week. Thank you.